Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to a Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building the world of Newcrest, which is one of the base game worlds, and I'm going to be building a big traditional family home. So this house ends up having 5 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms, and altogether it is built on a 40 by 30 lot. Now, this week, I was just really in the mood to sit down and just build a regular house in the game. Well, I say regular house. I just feel like it's been so long since I have just come into my game and just built like a family home. Because recently, we had a new expansion pack came out. It was called The Sims 4 Life and Jessicapie. And so I've been doing a few builds regarding that expansion pack. But then just before the expansion pack came out, it was Halloween. And so I did a few different like Halloween-y type of builds. I say Halloween-y. I built like a hobbit hole and like a secret tree house, and I also built something post-apocalyptic. But then I feel like it's been a while since I've sat down and just built like a nice family home in the game, and I've just really missed it. And this week I was just, yeah, I really fancy doing that. And so I decided to build this house. It's absolutely massive. I'm calling it a big traditional family home. Honestly, I'm underplaying it because there is so much on the inside of this house. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And so I really hope you like it as well. But anyway, moving on from that and getting on and talking a little bit more about the build itself and also what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I've already come in and pretty much figured out the whole main shape and structure for the build. I've already come in and placed down the roofing. I'm now just debating what wallpaper I was going to go for, because when I was building this house, by the way, I was looking at a picture that I found on Pinterest. I'll find it for you and I'll pop it up on the screen so you can have a little look. And this picture, it's very perfect suburban family home, you know, like cookie cutter, white picket fence, that kind of vibe. And I love it. I love them types of builds. But the colour scheme for the house is an all white sliding, and it's got these little green shutters, and it's beautiful. But the thing is, in The Sims 4, when you try and do an all white build or like an all white wallpapered build, it don't translate well into the game. And so I did debate having a few different variations of like white brick or white sliding. In the end, I just went for a brown brick. But this brown brick that I've used is from base game, and it's one of my favourite bricks to use on the exteriors of builds. But one thing that I did try and follow through from the picture on Pinterest was, one, the roof line, but then also them little green shutters that I was talking about. This is going to be a really weird thing to point out, but normally, whenever I place down shutters onto windows in my build, I normally always just go for a plain black swatch, because I love the contrast of having an all white window, black shutters, a white panelling, and maybe like a little red brick foundation. Like that combo for me, love it. But yeah, normally whenever I place down shutters into my build, I always just go for the default black swatch. But in the picture, it was these beautiful like emerald green ones, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to push the boat out. I'm going to do something quite similar to the picture. And so I used these little shutters that we got from the Horse Ranch expansion pack, and they just so happened to come in like a similar colour swatch to the picture. Decided to pop them onto the windows, and yeah, I really like it. Currently as well, by the way, I did try and match the front door to the green shutters. The front door that I've used, that is just from base game. In the picture, the front door was also green, but then you'll see shortly, I decided to change it and just make it like a nice and brown front door. Instead of the green, it's brown, not the whole thing brown. You'll see what I mean shortly. But one thing as well that I did in this house is I made it so there is a little garage space. Initially, I was going to use one that we got from the City Living expansion pack. This one over here. It's one that your Sims can spray graffiti on, but once I sized it up to match like the proportions of the build, I didn't like it. I swiftly changed it and placed down this one that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack. It's not actually a garage. It's meant to be a door, but it's on the medium wall height, and I feel like if you look away and kind of squint your eyes a little bit, it could class and kind of like pass as a garage door. And so yeah, I decided to switch that out and change that to be a brown colour swatch. And I think that's why subconsciously I then end up changing the front door to be a brown, so it kind of matched the garage door. I just felt like with a green front door, it was just a little bit too much for my liking. But on the inside of the garage, it is just like a regular, typical family home garage. In there, I tried to place down some gameplay items, and so I placed down like the woodworking table. We've got like a little boxing bag. We've also got a beverage fridge in there, and then some skiing equipment, some bikes, and then also like a little games table, and then like a little decoration box. You know, just stuff that is normal to find in your Sims garages. If you wanted to, you could definitely transform that and make it into another bedroom if you fancy. But like I said, there is 5 bedrooms and 4.5 bathrooms in this house, and if you wanted to, technically on paper, it is a house that can sleep up to 8 Sims. Now, the way that I decided to decorate the bedrooms, I have it so there is one for a set of parents, there is a grandparent or grandma suite, which is on the downstairs level of the house, but that bedroom is massive. Ends up having like a walk-in wardrobe, it's got its own ensuite, she's got a piano in there. Grandma's got a piano in her bedroom. Honestly, it's colossal, that bedroom. But we also have one for either a set of grandparents or just like a single grandparent. Then we also have a teenage girl's bedroom, which that bedroom, I tried to have a little bit more of like a antique kind of retro approach. I say retro. You know the Cozy Bistro kit that we got a few months ago now or something? In that kit, it's very like classic, old school, kind of like older generational kind of artwork in that DLC. I basically just tried to make the room feel a little bit more like a vintage room. I was imagining that the sim that sleeps in that room really likes old school music and likes listening to music from maybe like the 50s or the 60s or something, and so that was kind of like the approach that I have for that bedroom. But then there is also another bedroom which I decorated to be for a teenage boy and a kid, but that room, I don't know if you've ever seen Drake and Josh. You know Drake's bedroom in Drake and Josh, where he's kind of got like an uppy bit on his bed? I tried to do that, but I love it because the thing is, in the Snowy Escape expansion pack, we've got this one bed swatch of a kid climbing up a rock, and so where I decided to have a section in that bedroom where a sim would have to go up to a ladder to get to their bed, I decided to make it so the kid in that room loves rock climbing, and his little section of his bedroom is got like decals of mountains, and I've placed down stuff that relates to mountain climbing in the game. But then on the other side, it's where his teenage brother would sleep, and so he's got a double bed in that room. But then also in this house as well, I decorated the last bedroom to be for an infant, but I tried to decorate it to be a Ralph Lauren inspired nursery. I'm so happy with that infant's nursery. It's got to be up there with one of my favourite nurseries that I think I've ever decorated in the game. I use a lot of the stuff that we got from, the Storybook Nursery kit. It was, actually, to be fair, again, one of the most recent kits that we got in The Sims 4. Honestly, I feel like they're just shoving kits in our face now. We're just getting so many. We actually did get another 2 yesterday, which I will speak about shortly, but I use a lot of the Storybook Nursery in that room, and I realised since that kit came out like 2 months ago or something, I was yet to use it in a build because it has been that long since I've just sat down and I've just built like a happy-ish suburban family home in the game where it's got an infant's room, and it was kind of like my first proper play around with the Storybook Nursery kit in that room, and so I decided to make it Ralph Lauren themed. It's got like a dark navy wallpaper, and then I placed down pictures of like horses onto the wall, and then I also sized down. It's meant to be a Jeep in the game, and it's meant to be one that you could kind of like pass as one of your Sims cars on the driveway. It's from the Cottage Living expansion pack, but I was looking at reference images of Ralph Lauren themed nurseries when I was decorating that room, and there was like this little sculpture of a Jeep, and it really looks like the one that we got from the live edit menu, and so I like sized that down and put it onto the bedside table, and then I also placed down little decals of clouds, and then I placed down little like wall sconces. It's so cute and adorable in that room, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. But that is the nursery in this house. And then if you want to, there is space if you have like a single grandparent to have either a dog or a cat. But for this house, I thought it'd be really lovely to do a bit of a change and make it so they would have a cat. I always decorate Sims houses to have a dog because I've got a dog. And so whenever I decorate houses, I more so think of a dog rather than a cat. But for the idea that I had for a family that could potentially live in this house, I was thinking they've probably got their hands full. And I feel like, and I could be wrong here because I've never had a cat, but I feel like cats are quite independent. And they kind of just, they only really come home for food. My understanding anyway. I've never had a cat. But I was thinking, it'd be nice to give them a cat. And so, there is like some food bowls and like a little litter box and just stuff for the cats to do, bopping about in this house. But either way, as well as that in this house, alongside with the bedrooms and the garage and stuff, there also ends up being quite a decent sized home office, and there also ends up being a playroom as well in this house, which where I was having a teenage boy and a kid share a bedroom, there was kind of limited space in that room for like kid activities and things that kids could do in the game. And so where there was space for it, I thought perfect opportunity, I'm going to make it so there is a playroom in this house. In there I placed down like a little TV and like a games console. I placed down this tent that we got from the Dream Home Decorator game pack, never use it in my builds because it's absolutely massive and it's really hard to place down into like a regular kid's room. And I always feel like if you're a kid and you've got that in your room, you're doing quite well for yourself because it seems like quite a fancy bit of equipment to have in your room growing up. But I'll place that down into there. I also place down like a drawing table, just random bits and bobs for the kid in this house. But then as well as that, in this house, in like terms of activities, there also ends up being a greenhouse in the garden. When I said I felt like I was underplaying it, because honestly this house is massive, I weren't joking. Like, there is so much in this house. Like I said, we've got home office, we've got playroom, we've got a garage space that can transform into maybe like a home gym if you want to. Like I said, there is already like a boxing bag in there, so I tried to cover like the fitness skill already. But if your Sims fancy and maybe your Sims want to grow up one day and become an athlete, you could have like a little home gym in there. And then also the greenhouse. When I was building this, I was really trying to focus on gameplay activities and also skill building activities, and so I tried to scatter about pretty much as I could fit into this build. You can see over here, I've now moved on into the garden section, and I've currently just placed down almost like a little upper decking bit. So I placed down a swimming pool over there. I also end up placing down some sun loungers, got a nice little barbecue area with a seating section, and then almost like a little green bit I'm currently terrain painting. I end up making it so there is a swing set as well as a telescope. There is also a soccer ball. I was about to say football then, but it's soccer ball in the game because it's American, isn't it? But I placed down a soccer ball as well as an American football as well. Honestly, all sections I feel like are covered because I tried to place down something for every type of age group in the game and tried to cover as many skill building items as possible, like skill building things. And so you got your fitness covered, you got your gardening covered. There's loads of bits and bobs in this house, and yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with it. But currently, as you can see, I'm just coming in and doing a little bit of landscaping in the back garden. I tried to keep the landscaping quite similar to the front garden. I just use a lot of white flowers and like white hydrangeas, white rose bushes. I use a few different ferns, and I also use this one bush that we got from the Get Together expansion pack. It's the one that I'm placing down over here. Normally there is another version of this bush that's got little white flowers, but I felt like it would have been a little bit too much with the other landscaping items that I decided to go for. And so yeah, I decided to place down some just bog standard blank bushes in this garden. And then something that I did use in the landscaping, which I never use, it's a pine tree. This is going to sound so bizarre to point out, but I never use it. But it's this pine tree, and it's got these little white flowers in it. You can see it in one of the flower beds that I made into this back garden. I did also pop it down into the front section as well, but I decided to use that tree because I noticed in this area of Newcrest where I'm building, that tree is quite prominent. Like, it seems to be scattered about quite a lot, and I wanted this house to kind of blend in to the environment. And so, yeah, I popped them down a few different times in the landscaping. I also did a bit of a curvy brick wall in the back garden. Really like that. I don't think I've ever done anything like that before in a Sims back garden, but when I was landscaping and kind of like decorating this back bit, I was briefly looking at a picture that I found on Pinterest, and this picture seemed to have some sort of like curvy section, and I really liked it. And I remember that with the Cottage Living expansion pack, we've got some live edit curved walls, and so the way that I created that little like curvy wall section, I just merged in two together. And yeah, it was done. Honestly, it's really simple. But you can see that I then tried to almost follow along with that little bricked wall bit, going up like the decking area where the swimming pool is, and then using the tool mod, I kind of like elevated it down, then it would all be the same height. If you're wondering, by the way, you don't need the tool mod to download this build. I use it quite a lot in this build. I use the tool mod pretty much in every single one of my builds anyway, but if you was to ever download a build from either me or another creator and they've used the tool mod in the game, you don't then need to go and get the tool mod to be able to have the build in your game. The way that the tool mod works, it basically is this mod that allows you to almost like manipulate objects. So I can size things up, I can size things down, I can rotate things, I could pull something away from something using the mod features, and there is so much to this mod. But it's the way that it was kind of designed. You don't need to have the mod in your game to be able to download a build and for it to look the same. So for example, if you're someone that maybe doesn't play with mods, or maybe you're a console player, maybe you've got a PlayStation or something, you don't need to have the mod in your game because for some reason you can't have mods on console, which is so annoying. I really wish there was some sort of way to be able to give you mods in the game, because mods in The Sims 4, depending on your gameplay style and how you choose to play the game, they can kind of completely change the game for you. I mean, it all depends on the types of mods that you have. I now am someone that has tried to limit the amount of mods that I do actually have in my game, because if I'm being completely honest with you, it just, when it comes around to patch day, and I used to have so many different mods in my game, it was a full-time job just going through and trying to make sure that everything was updated, and it's tiring. Honestly, it's so tiring. And so now I'm trying to play with minimal mods in my game. I've always got the Better Build By mod and the Tool mod installed into my game. That is just an absolute no-brainer for me. But in terms of like gameplay mods, I try to only have a handful of them, because it just, when it comes around to patch day and you've got to update them, it just takes me so long. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but it just takes me, I feel like, hours to go through and update everything. But it's with like custom content that I really wish that console players could have in their game, because custom content for The Sims 4 is game changing. Like, when I do my CC builds, they're genuinely some of my favourite builds in the game, because I feel like I'm just playing with a whole new catalogue and I've just got so many different things at my fingertips. And say, for example, I wanted to decorate a kitchen to be a certain aesthetic or a certain style, but I don't have any of that style CC in my game already. Just pop onto Google. I can find a CC creator that's already created the type of aesthetic that I was going for. And so, I really hope that one day CC is available for people that play on console. But then saying that actually brings me back to the point, yesterday was new kit day. We got 2 new kits of Sims 4, and these 2 new kits were creator made kits. So from my understanding, these 2 new kit releases that just came out were basically made by the CC creators. So we've got one for Creator Sim. It's called the Sweet Slumber Party kit, and that was created by, and I really hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Trilica. They're like a long time Creator Sim person. I have downloaded so much of their content over the years, but they are someone that more so focuses on Creator Sims, so like clothing. They came out with a really lovely little pajama set, or like pajama kit. But then there is also a build and buy kit, which was created by Mashuno-san, one of my all-time favourite CC build person creators. If you watch any of my CC builds, you've heard me say Mashuno-san probably about 1,000 times, because whenever I do my CC builds, I thoroughly just enjoy their content and I use it all the time. But they came out with a Cozy Kitsch kit. And from my understanding, these 2 new kits were made by them creators themselves. The Sims team, however, have basically just taken what they have made and all the time and effort they've put into it and polished it up and released it as paid DLC content. So it's kind of like the Sims way of bringing custom content into the actual game itself, more so for like console players. Now, I love this idea of a Sims team almost giving them a little bit of, I don't want to say exposure, because I feel like they are 2 very well-known CC or like creators in the Sims community, but I love the idea of the Sims team kind of like highlighting them and putting them on a little bit of a showcase so everyone can see how amazing their work is. But the one thing that I don't really like about it is, from my understanding, they basically did all the hard work. So all the items from these 2 new kits, these 2 creators have spent time personally making, and they gave, I believe as well, they also like wrote the descriptions for all these new things. But the Sims team basically took that stuff and they polished it up and then put it into the game as a paid DLC thing. Now, from my understanding, there would have been some sort of money exchange. I'm assuming they probably got like a flat fee for doing this work. But I will say, if you are looking to get the 2 new kits, please use both of their creator codes. Now, I have got my own creator code in the game. I'm not going to talk about that, because if you buy these 2 new kits, I don't want you to use mine. I want you to use both the individuals' codes, because in that way, they're going to get a little bit of commission per purchase. Because from the way that I've understood it, that's not a word, but the way that I understand it, they got a flat fee. They don't earn commission off the purchase. So, for example, with the build and buy kit, you could say that they paid Mashuno-san a flat fee. They did like a whole article. I'm pretty sure that they made sure to let you know that the creators have been compensated. Don't worry, they haven't done all the hard work and done a runner and like legged it with their work. Like, they have been compensated for it. But say, for example, the build and buy kit, they could have given a flat fee to the creator that made that kit. I don't know what the fee would have been. I really hope it was a lot of money, because EA, you're doing all right for yourself. But they could have given the creator a flat fee, and then with the $5 kit or £5 kit, they could sell thousands or tens of thousands, even 100,000, and 100,000 times 5. I'm bad at math, but that's going to be a lot of money. And they don't earn commission off that. They only earn their flat fee for the original concept. And I really wish that they did earn some sort of like commission from every single purchase made, even if it's just 5%. I really wish they would have been able to give them some sort of compensation. And so, yeah, if you are looking to get the 2 new kits, please use both their creator codes. And would you mind, for me, if you do it, can you use both of the purchases separately? So buy the Creator Sim kit, if you're gonna, and use Tridica's code. I'll pop it on the screen. And then if you want to also get the Build on Buy kit, can you do a separate purchase? Because then that both creators get compensated. But then use Mashuno's son's code as well on the screen. That way, I just feel a little bit better about it, because then if you are going to be buying their work, it doesn't cost you anything, by the way. If you pop in their creator code into the screen, it doesn't cost you anything. It's not a discount code. It's just basically saying, this person recommended me the kits, or I was inspired by this person to get the kits. I'm going to support them and I'm going to use their code. And so I feel like with using both their kits individually with 2 separate purchases, you can then still give them a little bit back. The way that creator codes work is it basically gives a 5% commission off your purchase. So say, for example, you was going to buy their kit, and I think it's a $5. Yesterday, actually, there was like this whole kerfuffle that went on where the kits were listed as a $10. I did not purchase the kits yesterday. I was going to wait until that bug was fixed, but I believe now that bug has been fixed and the kits are priced correctly. But say if you was going to purchase the kits and they were £5, I think they would earn like 20p or something off that purchase. It's basically a small little commission fee. It's 5%, but I think for the next couple of weeks it's gone up to like 7% for creators if you use their creator code. And so, yeah, if you do buy their kits, please do use both their separate codes. And like I said, would you mind just using both of them separately? Because then that way both of the creators get compensated for their work. Because even though they were paid by EA, I just feel like they probably wasn't paid enough money. And so just if you can just even give an extra 20p by like 100 people, that's, hang on, £2 or 20 quid? I'm bad at maths, but that will be some sort of commission for them. But anyway, moving on from that, sorry, that went so off subject, but I did just want to mention that because I think it's important for you to help support them. If you're going to buy the kits anyway, do you know what I mean? You might as well use their creator codes because then they do earn a commission off the purchase. But it's ironic as well because in this build, admittedly, I didn't even end up using the kits because I didn't have them when I was filming this. They came out yesterday, like I said, and I filmed this earlier in the week. I wouldn't have been able to film this and then post it today because I had like 9 hours worth of footage for this build. It was definitely a big one. But anyway, besides the point, moving over, as you can see, I have now moved on into the inside the house. I'm just coming in and pretty much just finishing up the initial hallways into it. Off the hallway, there is a tiny little bathroom that you would have seen me just furnish. It was a 2x1 tile bathroom. If you're curious, by the way, it fully works. As always, I've play tested this whole entire house. I've run into a few different issues here and there, but nothing too major. But that little bathroom, even though it is small, it still does function. Like your Sims can still go for a wee in that downstairs toilet. But moving over, you can see that I've now just moved on into the kitchen. So in here, I feel like I did something that might be a bit of a Marmite situation. And when I say Marmite situation, I like to use that phrase whenever I think someone's going to either love it or hate it. And the thing is, in this kitchen, I decided to use a different kitchen cabinet to the kitchen counters because recently we got the Life and Death expansion pack, and in the Life and Death EP we got this new kitchen set, and it is nice, but some of the swatches of the kitchen counters I'm not the biggest fan of, and I really like the kitchen cabinets and I really wanted to use them in this build. And so what I did is I used the kitchen cabinets, the ones that go on the wall. They are from the Life and Death EP, but then the kitchen counters, the ones that your Sims would actively make food on, they are from the Cool Kitchen Stuff Pack. Admittedly, there is another kitchen counter that probably would have gone a little bit better than these ones, and it's the ones that we got from the Jungle Adventure no, it's not an expansion pack. I wish it was. do you know what? I love The Sims 3 World of Adventures, and when they came out with Jungle Adventure as a game pack, I was gutted because I loved playing the World of Adventures when I was little. Honestly, it's one of my favourite memories growing up as a kid. I got World of Adventures one Christmas, and I remember I sat down in my kitchen, I played it on my laptop, and I swear I blinked and like 10 hours had passed, but that is besides the point. The ones that we got from the Jungle Adventure game pack could have gone better with these kitchen cabinets, but I feel like them kitchen counters from Jungle Adventure I would often use with the wallpaper in this room. The wallpaper, if you're curious, is from the Parenthood game pack, and I just didn't want to be too samey, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to use the ones from, the Cool Kitchen Stuff pack. Like I said, the Life and Death EP did give us matching kitchen counters to go along with the cabinets that I put on the wall, and I love this brown swatch of them so much. But I really do not like the kitchen counter swatch. It's kind of like this, like a reddy kind of browny marble effect on the top, and it's just, for some builds, I reckon it'd be alright, but in this build, it wouldn't have been the vibe, and it wouldn't have gone with the wallpaper, and so, I decided to use this one. But in this kitchen as well, I did decide to use the new fridge and oven set from the Life and Death EP, and then I scattered around like a little coffee station, I placed down a little hot pot, and then you would have seen, and I was so happy with this idea, I placed down one of the chopping boards that we got from the Cool Kitchen Stuff pack, but I rotated it and merged it into the counter to make it look like it's been actively used recently. Now, when I was doing this build, because it did take me quite a long time to furnish it, naturally I just started thinking about different storylines of Sims that could potentially live in this house, and one of the ideas that I had for one of the parents in particular was one of the parents is quite a high up chef at a local restaurant, and so I was thinking for the kitchen it's probably a little bit of an active workspace, and so I thought having a little chopping board with like a little carrot and a potato was just quite nice. It kind of like suited the storyline in my head. And then for the other parent, I was thinking they were in either the salary person career, which is something that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack, or they're maybe in the business career. It's kind of like the reason why there does end up being quite a fancy and quite spacious home office in this build. But there is a home office for a parent if they are in one of them like businessy kind of like suited and booted kind of careers. Is quite fancy in there. But I was also thinking, by the way, that in this house it would be a grandma that lives here. You know, I said there's like a little grandparent suite. I was thinking it'd be a grandma, and the grandma is a retired musician but has moved in because where the parents of his household are so active within their work life, there probably isn't enough time to kind of like take care of them. And maybe they thought that they were, done having children, and then their infant came along. Well, it was a baby to start off with, but grew up. But then the infant came along, and maybe the grandma moved in to, help them out with it. But also in the kitchen, I ended up placing down some food bowls. I ended up placing down like a little Parenthood board. But then there is this little archway which goes into the utility room. So in the utility room, I decided to use this shelving unit that we got from the Laundry Day Stuff pack, and you can see that I'm just basically coming in and cluttering it up with a little laundry basket. We've got some boxes in here, also placed down some cleaning equipment and also some extra spare towels and stuff. And then I tried to do kind of like a corner built-in unit using the same kitchen cabinets that I use in the kitchen, and try to do it so it looks like it was some sort of built-in, and then I placed down the washing machine and the tumble dryer next to it. If you're someone that's maybe not a massive fan of playing with laundry, I would probably switch out that room and make it into, honestly, maybe like an extra kitchen space for like kitchen appliances, because in the game we have got so many different kitchen appliances at this point. We've got a popcorn maker, we've got an ice cream maker, we've got a pizza oven, we've got the hot pot, the kettle, like microwave, like there is so many different kitchen appliances, and trying to fit them all into one room sometimes is a little bit too much. And so if you're someone that maybe doesn't like to play with laundry in your game, that is probably what I would do for that room. But me personally, whenever I play the game, I'm just a big fan of doing laundry, getting my Sims to hoover, and I love that kind of realism aspect of the game. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is the dining room. So in here, I decided to use this 3-tile long table. The one that I've used is from the Seasons expansion pack, but then I decided to pair it with the chairs that we got from Dream Home Decorator. It's because the green bit of the glass of the table from Seasons kind of looks like it matches with the the chairs, and so yeah, I decided to use it in this room. And then also, you would have just seen, I placed down a door, but I tried to make it look like it had been recently opened, and then on the floor I had placed down a little dog sculpture. Now normally you're meant to place them down onto, I say you're meant to, the idea is it's meant to be like a clutter decoration. We got it from Cats and Dogs, but it's meant to be something that you can put down onto bedside tables or chest of drawers, or maybe like a little desk area or something. But I was thinking it might be really nice to be at some sort of door stopper situation. You know, sometimes, I don't know what your situation is at home, but my downstairs, we never close the doors. Like, we always have our doors open, and the door going into my lounge room, we've got like a little dog doorstop, and it keeps the, to be fair, the door would just stay there anyway, but I like the decoration for it. It's also the same dog breed sculpture thing as my dog. It looks like my dog basically. It's like a miniature snout decoration. It's really cute. But I placed it down into this room thinking, yeah, it was just something that would keep the door open. But also in this room as well, I ended up placing down a big like china cabinet. The one that I've used is on the opposite wall, but it's from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. I do really like that item, but the one thing that I don't like about it is it was almost made for a medium wall height. It's the one that's kind of got like all the fancy plates on the ceiling. So if you try and place it down into a build that is built on the smallest wall height, then the plates seem to like clip into the ceiling. And so you would have seen, I just decided to size it down, and then I merged in a few different like clutter pieces onto it. And then on the opposite wall, I was really struggling for such a long time what to put in between where the doors to the playroom were going to go and where the door to the garage was going to go. It was kind of like this little empty space. And I tried to play around with so many different like bedside tables and services. In the end, I remembered that from the For Rent expansion pack, we got some sort of unit, and it's got like a mirror built into it. It just looked like it belonged in a dining room, and so yeah, I popped that down to that room. But now moving over, I've now come in and started decorating the quite large living room. In here, I made this room so big, and it's great if, you know, you want to have all the family sitting around watching a movie, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night or something. But when it comes around to actually filling out the room, I just really struggled with it. And so what I decided to do is I placed down the fireplace that we got from the Cottage Living expansion pack, and then on one side, on the left hand side, I placed down this little unit that we got from the Jungle Adventure DLC, because I wanted to have some sort of like bookcase wall, and I initially placed them down on the right hand side, and I was thinking if I have bookcases either side of the fireplace, sometimes it works, but I just felt like it would have been a bit too samey and a little bit too ultra like fancy in a way for this room. And so what I decided to do is I placed down 2 bookcases that we got from Life and Jessicapie on the right hand side, and then in the other gap I placed down this shelving unit that we got from Jungle Adventure. And then I decided to place down some like random sculptures, I placed down some books, I placed down a flower decoration, a little record player, and then on the fireplace itself I tried to merge in 3 different clocks to make it look a little bit more of like a fancier clock sitting on the mantelpiece. And then I also placed down like a little boat sculpture, and then also some new photo frames that we got from, well, I say no, they're new to me, they might not be new to you, but I used them from the Storybook Nursery kit. And like I said, since that kit has come out, I just haven't really been doing builds that would require me to use the Storybook Nursery kit. And so yeah, I popped them down to the little mantelpiece. I do really like them, and they do come in some nice swatches, but the one thing that I wish that was different about them is if we got a version of these photo frames that didn't have pre-existing toddlers or infants in them, because I know they're not on the screen currently right now, but basically when I swap with the camera, you might see there is pre-existing photos of other Sims in them, and it's lovely and it's great for decorating lounge rooms like this. But when it comes around to gameplay, I'm a big fan of displaying my own Sims throughout the decorations, and so my Sims families will have so many different photo frames or wall decorations of pictures of them and kind of like their different phases of life scattered about the house. And yeah, I just wish there was a version of them that didn't have any pre-existing Sims in them, and so we could use them to put our own family photos in. But regardless, they're lovely. But also in this lounge room, I decided to place down 2 3-seater sofas, the ones that I've used from base game, and then pair it with these 2 armchairs that we got from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. And you know what, it's actually really ironic, because this sofa that I've used from base game is one of my favourite sofas that we've got in the whole entire Sims 4. I love it dearly because it's one of the most normal looking family sofas for a lounge room, and I have been saying for so long that I really wish that it would come with some more updated swatches. Guess what, they recently updated the swatches. I just used one of the ones that we've had in the game for like the past 10 years. In my defence, the swatch that I have used, it's a lovely neutral colour, and I feel like it can go in so many different lounge rooms. But yeah, this sofa previously, it had a green swatch, this creamy swatch that I've used, and then an orange swatch. But then fairly recently, there was a big base game update, and they added a ton of new swatches to a load of new base game items. I say new base game items, they made them feel new. But they added a new swatch category to loads of different things. And one of the things was that sofa, and they gave us like a black version of it, they gave us a pink version, a blue version, pretty much every single colour of the rainbow they gave us in that sofa. And when it came around to doing the lounge room, I was like, I really want to use it, but I don't want to feel like I have to use the one of the new swatches, because the cream swatch would have just gone perfectly. And so yeah, even though there is new updated swatches of that sofa, I just decided to use one of the ones that we've had in the game since launch. But in my defence, it is a lovely swatch of the sofa. I just really wish now they would give us a matching love seat and potentially a matching armchair. But you know what? With the armchair, I'm not so fussed, because I can use the one from Cats and Dogs and kind of play it off to be a matching set, whereas there is no love seat that matches it. And so yeah, if they could give us a new love seat, I would love that dearly. But either way, besides the point, on the back wall of the lounge room, I had such a massive space, and this is the thing, I really struggle with big long lounge rooms and what to put on the back wall. In the end, as you would have seen, I placed down some more bookcases, and then I sized up a little side table, and I cut out of it because it took me so long. But initially I was going to move objects, another side table, into the side table and make it look like a little bit of like a tiered cake effect. Didn't like it, ended up just completely deleting that and replacing it with some bookcases, and I think like a few different like vase, vases, however you say it, and just scattered about a few different decorations. But either way, moving over, you can see that I've now moved on into the next room, which is the playroom. So in here, I use this wallpaper that we got from the Storybook Nursery kit. Now it's kind of new-ish to me, because when that kit first came out, it came out at the same time as the Artist Studio kit, and my first build with the two new kits in my game, I more so focused on the Artist kit. I built like an artist penthouse in the world of Cinnadad and Marada, and it was more so like the focus of that build rather than the Storybook Nursery kit. And I'm pretty sure I tried to use this wallpaper in that build, but then I think in the end I decided to scrap it and just go with a different type of wallpaper. But for a playroom, this wallpaper is just so perfect. If you look at it, I think it's meant to be, and I could be wrong here, but I think it's meant to be one of the Sims 3 worlds. It looks like it's got a little river in the middle, it's got like a little bridge and a sailboat. It's also got like a little hot air balloon, and then also like a little UFO. It is so lovely, and yeah, just perfect for a little playroom. And so I just placed that down as a little bit of a feature wall in this room. I then also decided to place down, and I feel like I need to explain it because it does seem like a little bit of a bizarre thing to use in this room, but just on the right hand side of that feature wall, I placed down like a little TV area, and then also like a framed picture of some sort of football shirt and stuff. On the right hand side, I placed down a wall decoration. You can't see it, but if I just tilt the camera a little bit, you might be able to. But it's from the Realm of Magic game pack, and it's meant to be some sort of beetle wall light. Basically, the idea that I had in my head, right, when I was doing it, is I don't know if you've ever seen them lights that you used to be able to get from IKEA. They were like starlights, and I'm pretty sure there was also a heart light. But when I was growing up, I had the blue starlight. I'm going to pop a picture on the screen. I'm going to find it. I'm going to show you what I mean. But I had this light in my bedroom when I was growing up, when I was little, because I never used to sleep with all the lights off. I'm now a big girl and I can actually turn the lights off when I go to sleep. But when I was younger, I used to have that little wall light on. And then once I'd actually fall asleep, my mum and dad used to come into my room and like turn it off. This sounds so bizarre to talk about in this voiceover. But when I was doing this playroom, I was thinking back to when I was a kid and the kind of things that I had in my bedroom. And one of the things, as kind of like a main prominent feature, would be this wall light, because it was big and it was blue and it was on the wall. When I was decorating the playroom, I was thinking back to, well, it might be quite nice to make some sort of reference to the room that I grew up in when I was a kid. And so I placed down a wall light that looks like a beetle. But I was thinking the Sims family just bought it from the Sims version of IKEA and put it into the playroom. But also in that room as well, as you would have seen, I placed down the tent that we got from Dream Home Decorator. I placed down some bookcases. I placed down the Scouts board that we got from the Seasons expansion pack. Never placed that down into my builds because I must admit, It's quite ugly. Even to this day, I can't even lie, I've tried to look for some custom content of the scouting board from Seasons, because the board itself, you get it when your Sims enter the after school activity of like the scouting career. So teenage Sims and kids Sims can basically just go and be a little scout member, and throughout gameplay, depending on what kind of activities you get them to do, they can earn badges for being outside, they can earn badges for keeping fit, they can earn badges for like being friendly. I'm pretty sure like there's all sorts of badges that your Sims can earn, which is really sweet and really adorable. But the thing is, the way that you access them and the way that your Sims can unlock all these different badges, you have to use the scouting board, and I never place it down because it is really ugly. But I was thinking maybe the teenager in this build, the boy teenager, or maybe the kid could be in the scouting career, and it might be quite handy to have them. So yeah, I just popped it down into that room. But currently, as you can see, I'm now just coming in and decorating the garage space. So in here, like I said, I tried to make it feel like a realistic garage if our Sims actually had a use for a garage in the game, because it's ironic, your Sims can't even drive a car. They can, if they want to, they can fly a rocket, they can ride a bike, they can also power the, what's it called, Millennium Falcon? Is that the Star Wars thing? I don't know, I'm not a Star Wars person, but there is so many different things and transportation objects in the game that now at this point your Sims can use, but ironically, they can't drive a car. But either way, I like having garages and builds because it gives you almost like a bit of an opportunity to have a bit of a dumping ground for gameplay objects. Now, when it came around to playtesting, the one only issue that I really ran into was in here I placed down the woodworking table at a certain angle where basically for some reason my playtester sim couldn't make anything, and so I basically ended up swiveling the woodworking table around. I wanted to mention it just in case you noticed it in the screenshots, but yeah, other than that, in that room, as well as the woodworking table, that ends up being a little card table in the middle, I end up placing down a boxing bag. There is also the Seasons box from Decoration, just random bits and bobs in there that I feel like over time would accumulate in someone's garage. If you want to, you'll probably transform the garage into maybe an extra bedroom. Maybe in your household you don't want to have a teenager share with child, and maybe you'd rather have the teenager have their bedroom downstairs in the garage space. But I decided to make it so them two kids shared in this build, just because I liked the idea of having a bit of a Drake and Josh moment in their bedroom and having one bed on like a little bit of a higher ladder situation. But either way, moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the home office. So in here I placed down a new computer desk that we just got from the Life and Death EP. I then placed down two armchairs currently that is from the Life and Death expansion pack, but I decided to switch them out. I weren't feeling it. I didn't like, they're a bit too modern for this building, so I decided to switch them out to be the ones that we got from the Cottage Living expansion pack. But I used them in a blue swatch. You'll see in a second. When I move on and I start decorating the next room, I can see them in the corner of the camera, and I just didn't like them in the blue swatch, and so you'll see in a second I do decide to switch them out to be the same armchairs but just in a white colour swatch. But also in the home office I placed down some bookcases, I placed down a new filing cabinet. We got it from the Life and Death EP. There's no interaction with it, there's no like animation, it's just purely for decoration, but it's always nice to get a new one. I often use the one that we got from Get to Work, and I feel like I've used that to death, and so I popped that down to that room. And then it also placed down a little goldfish, and then a little goldfish like feeder thing next to it, and then a trophy cabinet. I just feel like the parent sim, what? No, the business sim who is a parent, that's the correct English, but the sim that is in the business career that lives in this house would probably have quite a lot of different life achievements. And so I was thinking maybe they proudly display them in their office, and then maybe when all their co-workers come over to talk business stuff, I don't know what they chat about, but when they come over to chit chat about business, they can kind of like proudly display all of their different trophies and life achievements. But either way, moving on, as you can see, I've now started decorating the first bedroom in this house, which is Grandma's bedroom. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you can make this into maybe a granddad's room, or maybe like a grandparent's room. Maybe you've got both grandma and granddad. It's up to you. If you do it that way, then you have both the parents, two teens, a kid and an infant. The cat has to go in the bin because there's only 8 household slots in the game, and so to have all the different Sims in this house, you would have to, say goodbye to the cat situation. But I mean, if you're someone that plays with mods, you can update the amount of members you have in a household to exceed the limit of 8. You can probably have like 10 if you fancy. I never play around with that, but it's definitely an option. But in here, I placed down a piano in the corner. I was thinking that the grandma that would sleep in this room, just a really lovely old woman. I was thinking she's very family loving. She's like a classic grandma, likes to bake, likes to be around her grandchildren. And so when either her son or her daughter, whoever, invited her to come and live at their house and transform this bedroom into a space for them, they probably jumped at the chance because they love spending time with their grandchildren. I just had a thought, actually, maybe the reason why 2 of the kids share a bedroom is because what is now the parents' bedroom could have maybe possibly have been the teenager's bedroom, but then when grandma came in and they moved, grandma had to take over this bedroom, which maybe used to be the parents' bedroom, and that is the reason why the 2 kids share a bedroom. Just a thought, I just had that just then, but that does make sense in the storyline, doesn't it? Either way, in here, as you can see, I'm currently just coming in and doing the walk-in wardrobe. I rarely ever do walk-in wardrobes in my build, and it's such a good feature that we got from the Dream Home Decorator game pack. But and I've said this before, I just don't really like the furniture style that we got from Dream Home Decorator. Don't get me wrong, some of it is all right. Some of it is quite handy. I love the little decorational bits and bobs. So I love the shoe clutter. I love the little wicker basket stuff. And I do like the idea of having your Sims clothes hanging in some sort of walk-in wardrobe situation. What I don't like about it is the actual units from Dream Home Decorator. They're just so modern, and the swatches of them just drive me up the wall, because you would think the swatch of the wardrobe that I would use would match the same swatch as the bed from Dream Home Decorator. You know, it's from the same DLC. Surely the swatches match, but they don't. It probably looks like it because I've separated them from quite a distance, so from afar it probably looks like the bed in that room matches the wardrobe because they are from the same DLC. But I promise you, if you was to go into your game right now and you was to place down the Dream Home Decorator bed that I've used in that bedroom and place down one of the wardrobe pieces, the swatches are different and it drives me up the wall. But, however, it is nice once in a blue moon to, just build a walk-in wardrobe. And I thought, well, it'll be quite nice for the grandparents to have one, or grandma. And so I placed a little walk-in wardrobe situation in that room. I did decorate it for grandma and grandpa, so there is potential to have both. Like I said, cat's just got to go in the bin, but I just like to fill out the space with different clothing decorations. I didn't want to use the same one over and over again. There does also end up being a makeup vanity in the grandparents' bedroom. I more so placed it down into the corner, admittedly, to kind of fill out the space, because like I said, the grandparents' bedroom is massive. I didn't know what to do with it, and so I popped down a grand piano, and I think I did try and place down a bookcase or something, but I placed down a little makeup vanity, so if you want to, grandma of a morning can take her little hair rollers out, she can pop on her eyeshadow and her lipstick, and she's good for the day. Must admit, in my own gameplay, I never actually use that item. I like to place it down into my builds for like a filler thing, but I rarely ever get my Sims to apply the makeup. The only time my Sims interact with it due to the makeup is getting a kid to draw on their face with the makeup, because that's something that you can do with the makeup vanity table. But with the makeup vanity, I don't know what a smoky eye with a red lip looks like in game. I know what it looks like if I was to do it myself, but in The Sims 4, the makeup options, they're just not really cutting it, and so I never really get my Sims to use it. But either way, moving over, as you would have seen, I just quickly did one of the bathrooms in this house. Now, like I said, there is 4.5 bathrooms. There is the one downstairs that you saw me furnish that is just off the grandparents' bedroom. Then there is that tiny little like 2-tile one just by the front door, and then the rest of them are all upstairs. But just for this video, I just decided, I say just for this video, I do it all the time, but I just feel like it's so repetitive to watch the same bathroom be decorated over and over again. You can kind of see glimpses of the upstairs ones as I come in and I scatter around the camera, but for the most part, I just cut them out. It's just too repetitive. But either way, as you can see, I've now moved on into the first upstairs bedroom, which is the one that I decorated for a kid and a teenager. I'm so excited for you to see this room because I've just been so proud of this little bedroom. It's very small, but I love the concept of having a kid that is really into rock climbing having to go up a ladder to get to their bed area. So the way that I did it is I basically built a little room, and then I leveled up the platform to, I think it was 4 bumps up into the air. But basically the height of the platform that I've done it, children can only access at this bed area. So the teenage boy, for example, he wouldn't be able to come up here because the ceiling height will be too low for him. It's just the way that platforms work in the game. But I really like that because then it feels like the kid in this household, this is their little separate area. The only other person that will be able to come up here is if the cat weren't in the bin or the infant. But the infant can't walk yet. infant can barely roll over. And so I like the idea of, just having some sort of like little ladder space for them to climb up to of an evening and, pop off to sleep. In here, like I said already, I use this bed that we got from the Snowy Escape expansion pack, and it looks like it's got someone like climbing up a rock, and that just kind of like speared on the idea of having this sim be really into rock climbing. I then placed down this decal, which is from, again, the Snowy Escape expansion pack. I then also placed down this little wall decoration, which is kind of like mountains, and it's got some sort of rope hanging off it and little gloves and stuff. And then also on the wall, I placed down these little wall lights. They are from the fitness stuff pack off memory. I never use them, but with the fitness stuff pack, we actually got a rock climbing wall which your Sims can interact with in gameplay. Honestly, I never use it. I don't even think I've ever placed it down to a build, but your Sims can do rock climbing with the fitness stuff pack. There's some sort of like little rock climbing wall decal, and then with the Snowy Escape expansion pack, they can actively go and climb up rocks, but we got the fitness stuff pack first. Besides the point, either way. With the fitness stuff pack, we've got this rock climbing wall, but then we have this matching wall light, and I was thinking that it could be like them things that you would use if you was to go and do a little bit of rock climbing in maybe some sort of like community venue or something. I kind of like size a few of them down and just scatter them on the wall, and I love the way that the little like I just love it so much in this room. But as well in here, I placed down this double bed that we got from the high school years expansion pack, but then I wanted there to be some sort of divide in between. All right, this is where the kid sleeps, this is where the teenager sleeps. And so I use this wall divider. The one that I use is from the kids' room stuff pack. There is two different versions of it. There is one that's got all like stickers on it, and then there's one plain one. I decided to use the plain one because I didn't want it to be too kid-like for the teenager. But over here as well, I placed down a little computer desk. I placed down some sort of like gaming or movie posters. I then also did place down this wardrobe in the corner. It's the one that's kind of like open. It's got like a little backpack and stuff. Now, when it came around to placing this house, unfortunately, this is something that I've run into an issue with because the wardrobe was just a little bit too close to the computer desk to be able to get it to be functional. I could have probably shifted it over and made it so it was a functioning object, but I just really like the look of the wardrobe being kind of like up against the computer desk, and so I did decide to leave it. It's not functional, however, I did place down one of them big walk-in wardrobes that we got from the Get Together expansion pack. You know, one of the ones that your Sims can like try on new outfits, or if they've got a partner, or maybe just a fling, they can like woohoo with people in them or like make out of them. I placed down one of them into that room, and so your Sims can still change their clothes, but just not in the open one. But other than that, the rest of the room is play tested. I did accidentally place down a bookcase over where the door should have been, and so I did have to shift that over, but that was more so when I was like building. I didn't realise that there was nothing behind where I placed the door. It was kind of like the empty space going into the upstairs hallway, and so I did have to just shift that over, but nothing too drastic. But either way, moving over, you can see that I've now moved on into the next room, which is a teenage girl's bedroom that I tried to make a little bit more retro, kind of vintage. So in here, my main inspiration for this room was when I was doing the rest of the bathrooms in the upstairs level, which I decided to cut out, but I placed down this decoration that we got from the Cozy Bistro kit, and it's this woman, and it looks like she's holding some sort of wine glass, and I thought that'd be really lovely to place down into this teenager's ensuite. And then I was thinking, well, why not I try and decorate their room around some sort of like art deco, kind of like vintagey, kind of old school theme. It's a theme that I never really seem to do often, not only in like teenager bedrooms, but just in my regular build. And so I tried to make this feel like this sim just really appreciates the older school fashion. I'm thinking kind of like pin-up fashion. I'm thinking that they probably go to high school wearing a skirt that goes to like their ankles, and you know Grease. That's the vibe that I was going for, but kind of like a cutesy, antique-y kind of stuff. You know, Grease the movie. I just said Grease and hope that you knew what I was talking about. But you know, Grease the movie with Sandy and what's his name? Danny. Oh, that is such a good film. I need to watch that. Besides the point, the idea that I had was for a sim that just loves that kind of stuff in here, and so I started to use this bed that we got from the Modern Luxe kit. I then merged in a little penguin in between it because I was thinking it is a teenager, maybe they like to still sleep with a teddy bear, and so I pop a little penguin. And then I also tried to make a custom mirror on the other side of the wall. I realised when I was filming that there was two mirrors in this room, and they were quite a hefty size, both of them, but I placed down one which is kind of like above the desk area. I was thinking it was part computer desk, part makeup vanity, and so the mirror above that is from the Cozy Bistro kit. I just thought it was so lovely for this room. It was just so the vibe that I was going for. But the one over there, which you can see in the corner, I say in the corner, it wasn't the corner, but that one, I tried to make this custom mirror using a painting that we got from the Vampires game pack and then just a base game mirror. Now the way that I did it is I basically placed down the painting onto the wall and then I placed down these mirrors that we got from base game behind it. I then highlighted them both and then used the gravity pull feature from the tool mod to kind of pull them away. I then rotated them and basically leveled down the mirror a little tiny bit just so it would sit nicely in the frame, and in that way it is a custom mirror that your Sims, they can still interact with it. I will say the one thing that I noticed when I was playtesting, because whenever I playtest mirrors in my builds, I always get my Sims to practice acting, because it's one of the things where your Sims would have to be a little bit theatrical, you know, they have to do a little bit of movement, they have to jiggle a little bit when they interact with the mirror. And so whenever it comes around to playtesting, I think to get them to practice their acting is the best thing to see like the playability of it. But I got my Sim to practice the acting on that big custom mirror, and for some reason my Sim could do it, but they would sit down at the ottoman at the end of the bed. Don't know why, but it does work. Your Sims can do it, but for some reason when they're practicing for the next school play or something, they just sit down on the ottoman. But either way, besides the point, moving over. As you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is the Ralph Lauren themed nursery. I am so happy and just obsessed with this room and the way, just everything about it, the way it turned out, all the little like tiny details, and just, I love it so dearly. When I was building this, like I said, I was looking at a reference image. I'll find the reference image for you and I'll pop it up on the screen now. It seems to have like a tartan wallpaper. Unfortunately, we don't have that in the game. But something that I did notice is this tiny little green Jeep on almost like a bedside table next to the crib. And I was thinking, hang on, we have got a Jeep from the Cottage Living live edit menu that kind of looks like that. One, I sized it down and pop it onto the little like nightstand, and I did, and it's a small tiny little detail, but I love it. It really makes me feel like this is like a Ralph Lauren themed nursery. I've realised saying the term Ralph Lauren themed nursery is very bizarre, but I feel like recently there's been a little bit of a trend of people decorating nurseries in this kind of way where they have like paintings of horses in the wall or some sort of like wall sconces. I just think it is so lovely, and yeah, I decided to do it in this room, but use the Storybook Nursery kit. Now, the Storybook Nursery kit came out, like I said, months ago, and in that time, I really hadn't sat down and done a build where there was going to be an infant's nursery where I could kind of utilise all the different objects, and so this was pretty much my first play around with this kit, even though it came out ages ago. But regardless, I love it so dearly. Also in this room as well, I placed down a little Bigfoot thing in the corner. It's from the little campers kit, but I felt like it kind of went with this room. And then in terms of the different things that I've used from the Storybook Nursery kit, that is the new crib that you can see that I've placed down kind of in the centre of the room. We also have like a really nice little canopy, and then also I placed down some sort of like little, what's it called? It's like a spinny thing that goes on the ceiling. Do you know what I'm on about? I think it's called a mobile, but that feels wrong. I don't know where it is, but basically you're meant to put them on like cribs or like above a crib or something, and normally they're meant to rotate, and basically if you was to put a baby to sleep, they're meant to watch it and then it will basically make them sleepy. We got one from the Storybook Nursery kit and I placed it above the crib, and if you look at it, it's just so stinking adorable. It's got a little hot air balloon, but then as well as that, it's got some little clouds around it, and once I realised that it had clouds around the hot air balloon, that's when I decided to place down these little wall decals from base game. There are also some more clouds, and it kind of like tied it in all together. But as well in this room as well, I placed down a wardrobe that we've got from the Horse Ranch DLC. It kind of matches the Ralph Lauren kind of vibe, or at least I feel like from the reference image that I was looking at, I feel like I could probably find that wardrobe in that nursery. And so yeah, pop down a nice little wardrobe in here. Also placed down one of the new baby mats that we've got from the Storybook Nursery kit. Probably going to be my most used object from that DLC going forward, because the new playmat that we got, it's a playmat for infants, so you can do like tummy time and stuff in it, but it comes in a really nice neutral swatch, which sounds really silly, but previously we only had one other infant playmat in the game, and it was from the Growing Together DLC, and it's nice, and I was so grateful for this new item, but the swatches of them just wasn't really my cup of tea, if I'm being honest with you. And I always found it really hard to use the playmat in infant nurseries, and so I'm really grateful that with this new Storybook Nursery kit, they gave us a more like neutral one. I say they, I didn't even mention this, but the Storybook Nursery kit was in collaboration with 6amCC. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because it's been a while since this kit did come out, like I mentioned, but I believe for that one, that was more like a collaborative thing with the Sims team and 6amCC. So, you know the Pastel Pop kit? That was made in collaboration with Plumbella. I think she basically pitched the Sims team what she would like to have in the game as some sort of like collab with them. And they kind of went away with the concept. I think she gave them some ideas and then they made it and kind of brought it into fruition in the game. I think the Storybook Nursery kit was a similar thing with 6amCC. I don't think off memory, and I could be wrong and I'm really sorry if I am wrong, but I don't think 6amCC individually made all the different items in the kit. It was more so a collaborative, here's the concept that they want to bring into the game, and yeah, it kind of went from there. But if you are going to pick up the Storybook Nursery kit, again, actually, you can support 6amCC. They do also have a credit code, and so I'm going to pop that onto the screen if you do fancy picking up that kit. At this point in time, so many different creators have their own individual credit codes that you can use at checkout to basically support them in the game. And yeah, I think if you're going to buy like the Storybook Nursery kit, you should use 6am's code, or if you're going to buy the new kits that came out yesterday, you should use the codes of the creators that, you know, made them kits, because it helps support them, and yeah, it just kind of gives them a little bit of commission off your purchase if you're going to do it anyway. Like I said, it doesn't cost you anything, but yeah, either way, besides the point, off subject again. But moving over, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next room, which is the parents' bedroom. Struggled in here for ages, couldn't figure out which bed I was going to go for, but in the end I decided to use the same one that I used in the teenagers' bedroom, but used it in a different colour swatch. Also, that side table that I merged in between the bed, don't worry, bed's still functional. I thought it might not be, thought I'd try my luck, and yeah, luckily enough, the bed is still usable, even though I put down a side table over the top of it. But either way, other than that, I'm going to go around this build, finish it off by decorating the hallway, and that is pretty much it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My gallery ID is JessicapieYT, or just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedrunning video. Bye guys.